Today we are driving the new 2024 Acura MDX A-Spec. But before we do that, let me give you a brief tour of this car so you can get to know it before we get it out on the road. Starting out with the styling, the A-Spec is going to be the most aggressive looking MDX that you can get outside of the Type S variant. The grille is going to be fully blacked out and you get full functional vents at the bottom, however the air intake beneath the headlight is going to be fake. You will have jewel-eyed LED headlights, and you also have these 20-inch shark gray finished alloy wheels. The mirrors will be mostly loaded without auto-dimming on this A-Spec model, and all your trim is going to be blacked out. Taking a look at the back, you do have a rear exposed wiper, and all your taillights will be LED. Taking a look at the cargo area, this is a very good measure for the class. You get 16 cubic feet with the seats up, and you get 71 cubic feet with all the rows down. Additionally, you get some cubbies and underfloor storage. Of course, this being an MDX, you are going to have a third row. Of course, you can lift that up and then that will give you some underfloor storage, and you can turn it around for a plastic side. To close it up, you're just going to push the button up there. Now let's take a look at the interior and see what you're going to get in that area. So the second row is going to be easily slid forward by pushing the button on the side, and that will give you access to your third row. Unfortunately, you only get one cup holder and a plastic armrest on each side. No vents, USB ports, heated seats, nothing like that. The second row is by far the superior experience. The door panel will be wrapped in mainly leather, you get a sunshade, a lot of storage down below, and the seats will be sliding and reclining with the bar down there. You also get a third zone of climate control, but I would like to see heated seats at $62,000. You also get vents, a power socket, 2 USB ports, and if you choose the advanced, a household style outlet. Now let's take a look at the front row and see what the driver and passenger are going to enjoy. The door panel will be basically the same. You do get 3-person memory seats, plenty of storage down below, and your seats will be made of leather and microfiber, and they will be heated and ventilated. Of course, you're going to get vents, and when you hop inside, you're going to find a leather-wrapped steering wheel. This is perforated because it's the A-Spec model, and this is the sporty version, and you do get a full digital gauge cluster. Also, there's a little car in the middle so that it will show exactly what is going on the outside of the car while in the inside. That is pretty cool. Now aside from that, you do have different gauge layouts like advanced or crafted. So this is crafted, and you can also go to advanced, which I would personally choose. It also will change if you choose a different drive mode, which I think is pretty cool. Now your main display will be controlled by this trackpad. It's very easy to use once you get used to it. Of course, it supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and has a 360-degree backup camera on the advanced only. So that is a very disappointing thing about this MDX, that you have to step up to the advanced to get all the features that you really want. Heated and ventilated seats are available on the A-Spec and Advanced, and if you look over to the right, you're going to find pop-up USB ports, which definitely cleans up the look of this interior. Now you have the trackpad control down here, and if you just swipe, that will control your split screen and the main screen itself. You do have navigation available on this MDX, and of course you can just find everything, and you do have cabin talk as well. That will raise your voice to the third row passengers, and it will display your voice in the speakers so that they can hear you better on those very loud highways. Now you can just push home to go out of anything like that, and you do have plenty of space in the center console, definitely a lot more than Audi Q7, not on par with the Lexus TX however. Up top you're going to find a sunglasses holder and a large panoramic sunroof coming standard on every MDX model for 2024. Now let's get this MDX A-Spec out on the road and see what it's like to drive in the city and on the highway. So we're going to start off our test drive on this very quiet and slow moving road. This is when you appreciate how quiet and refined this 3.5 liter V6 is. Let's go over the specs before we really get it out on the road. This is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 putting out 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. All of this is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and you get a pretty good 19 miles per gallon in the city, 25 on the highway, and 22 combined. Now this is a pretty big deal considering what I'm hearing from you guys in the comment section. The MDX has a lot of stiff competition, but few of them offer V6s anymore. The Q7 has a 4-cylinder turbo as standard equipment, but you can get a base model Q7 with the V6 for about $67,000, which is about the same price as a fully loaded MDX Advance. Also, the Lexus TX will have a V6 if you get the plug-in hybrid model, which is about $80,000. The only real competitor that has a V6 as standard equipment that I can think of is the Infiniti QX60. The Buick Enclave now has a 4-cylinder engine for 2025. But let's talk about the MDX, not the competition, specifically about the driving dynamics. The MDX has a very smooth ride quality even though it doesn't have the adaptive air suspension. If you compare it to the Q7 Prestige, you will notice the difference, but it's not too bad. The MDX is still plenty smooth for day-to-day driving. Also, the wind noise is very reduced. At about 55 miles per hour, I got about 53.6 decibels. That is pretty good for the class. I think the quietest option is the Lexus TX at 51 decibels. We're going to get to the acceleration in a second, but I want to say that the braking power is pretty good even though we don't have the Type S. Now let's go ahead and get some acceleration on the ramp. Okay, that's not bad. Expect 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds and 5.7 on the MDX Type S. And that V6 sounded amazing. I am kinda disappointed because the MDX falls behind the competition when it comes to performance. The Audi Q7 has 2 engine options available for the standard model, and the V6 found in the standard model is actually about the same speed as the MDX Type S. And the SQ7 is even beyond that. The Lincoln Aviator standard engine has 400 horsepower, and that is pretty impressive for a standard engine. I would like to see Acura make a high-performance model, even though they already consider the MDX Type S a performance SUV when it's really not. Now, aside from that, the ride quality on the highway is pretty good. There are some bumps, and I'm barely feeling it in the back seats. Also, it's not too loud in here, which I appreciate. You can also appreciate the build quality in this MDX. There are no creaks and rattles of any kind like I heard in the Honda Pilot, and everything fits together extremely well. Getting off of the highway, there is no regenerative braking because this is not electrified in any way, and overall it's pretty peaceful and calming. But we're going to interrupt that with another acceleration and handling test. So we're going to put it through a corner and see how this MDX A-Spec stands up to it. So we're going to take off from a stop right here, and there's also another curve up ahead. So we're going to put it in sport mode to get the best out of the handling. Of course, this MDX comes alive when it's in sport mode, and once you put it through a corner, it handles it very well. Of course, if you want the Type S, then you're going to get even better handling because in sport mode, the air suspension goes down so there isn't as much body roll. Still, even with the standard MDX, there isn't that much body roll. Of course, you're going to notice it compared to an RDX or a TLX or something like that, but still, considering its size, this is really good. Now we're going to be arriving back at the Acura dealership soon, so we're going to be wrapping things up in a minute. So what are my thoughts on this Acura MDX? I really like this car, and I think it's a great choice for 2024. Now, there isn't that much space in the third row, and not too much space in the cargo area, but of course you have the Lexus TX if you want that. Of course, the competition is going to have a lot of bougie features that this one doesn't have, but the MDX is the only one that starts at $50,000 for the base model. So if you want a luxury 3-row crossover, but you can't spend that much money, the MDX might be the one for you. And they're refreshing it for 2025. That will include a revised front end, a touchscreen on the interior, and a 31-speaker sound system for the Type S Advanced model. Also, there's a new trim level like you get on the RDX. That's going to be known as the A-Spec Advance. So that's going to blend the A-Spec looks with the Advanced luxury. That's pretty sweet. Well, we're going to be arriving at the dealership, so I'm just going to wrap it up right here. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you're in the market for buying an MDX in the next year, be sure to check out Fox Acura of Ann Arbor. They are a great dealership and they make the buying process very easy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.